I'm fulfilling a lifelong fantasy of being in Spinal Tap. All right, this is awesome. Waiting for the little Stonehenge right here. That would be great. Yes, they asked us to come up and share a little bit of our passion. I'm not sure that would be sanitary, but I'm ready to share a little bit about how Spoonflower started. For anyone who doesn't know, Spoonflower is a website that allows people to design and print their own fabric, wallpaper, and gift wrap. We were the first people to do that. And it's also a marketplace, so if you're an artist, most of the designs that people upload and print on fabric are private, but you can choose to make your designs available for sale if you want to and earn money when people buy it. So Spoonflower has also become, over time, the world's largest marketplace for fabric. It's the world's biggest fabric shop. It's the only place to go, for example, if you're interested in zombie fabric, or Dachshund fabric, or 4th of July fabric, or whatever. But there's an enormous marketplace with thousands of designers from all over the world selling their stuff there as well. And of course, they're all independent designers. Yes. So here we have a picture of me in Spoonflower's manufacturing facility in Durham off Meridian Parkway, and a picture of me in Better Homes and Gardens, where in 2011, I think they asked me to predict design trends for 2012. So just to give you a little bit of context for how weird that is, my high school yearbook did not have a category for least likely to appear in Better Homes and Gardens. But if they had, my picture probably would have been in there. So Spoonflower has been just an incredible success story. So there are designers, this is poorly formatted, not sure what happened here, but Sandy Baumgartner is a fashion designer in Athens, Georgia, independent designer. Did a collection a couple of years ago based on the work of a local photographer, Ian McFarlane. Really sophisticated people use Spoonflower, as well as complete amateurs. Spoonflower has appeared, Spoonflower fabric has appeared many times on the program Project Runway and on the runways in London and Paris and New York. Justin LeBlanc, if anyone knows him, is a professor at NC State and was a finalist on Project Runway, uses Spoonflower pretty regularly in his collections. Yes. Click. Oh, click. The question then that I'm here to answer is how did this happen? How did someone like me end up in charge of a company, founding a company that has had this sort of revolutionary influence on the fashion industry, allowing independent designers to create unique fabrics and collections in making this digital manufacturing technology accessible to people for the first time? The answer is that I have a really smart wife. It's certainly not that I knew anything about sewing or fabric or design. My wife is someone who sews and loves fabric, and back in 2007, the year before we started Spoonflower, she was buying a lot of fabric online. She had a blog where she was blogging about, among other things, the stuff that she liked to make. And one night after work, she was talking to me about making new curtains for our living room, and she said, you know, it'd be really cool is if I could design my own fabric, because she had a vision. And I thought to myself, well, that's odd, because she should be able to design her own fabric, right? So I knew a little bit about that because I had worked for a startup called Lulu.com, which was the world's first website to allow people to publish their own books, and really was just a front end for a digital manufacturing technology, sort of producing things one at a time. And there were lots of other examples. You could print your own T-shirts and print your own bumper stickers and mouse pads and whatever, but there was nothing that allowed people to print their own fabric. So thus the idea was born. The idea, the name, lest anyone ask, Spoonflower is the common name for a plant called the white arrow arum that you may have observed on the banks of ponds in our region. And I have some growing in my backyard, and I thought it was a nice name for company that was really about personal expression. So that's where it came from. So when we started, this is my co-founder, Gart Davis. Gart and I had worked together actually at Lulu.com. And we started, we didn't have much money. So we, that is my phone going off, forgive me. We pooled our money and we bought a digital textile printer, which is what's in that box. What you can't really tell is it was actually a fairly large printer, but Gart is a very large guy, so it looks kind of small in this. But you know, it's just a big inkjet printer, and we figured it couldn't really be that hard. It wouldn't take that much in the way of resources to try this idea out. So we sort of pooled our money, bought this printer, rented an old sock mill in Mebane, North Carolina, which you can see here, which we could rent month to month. It was about $1.50 per square foot. And we went to work. We had a plastic picnic table with a piece of plywood. We bolted to the top of it, which you can see down in the corner there. Gart rounded the corners, so it looked fancy. But that was really the only piece of furniture. We had an old sofa from his attic. And we set about in 2008, just the two of us, trying to figure out how to make this work. We had a website where you could really add your email address to a list, and we'd invite you to come use it. We hired a developer to create the beta version of the website. This was before we rented our first office here. And that's expensive. For those of you who are in the development business, you know that it's not easy to find developers, and it costs a lot of money. So we ran out of money pretty quickly on that front, and Gart taught himself to write Ruby on Rails so that we could keep going. And I taught myself to operate and repair digital textile printers so we could keep going. And that's pretty much how we started. Neither of our families had any income for over a year and a half. So we were using credit cards, home equity, and retirement accounts. Today, by the way, Spoonflower is a successful company, was number 10 on the list of the Triangle's fastest growing businesses this year. And we were in the top 5,000 businesses, fastest growing businesses in the country. But anyway, that story about Gart teaching himself code carried over into kind of a cultural, sort of an institution in the culture of Spoonflower. We could never afford to hire developers at the beginning. We were a bootstrapped startup, and we declined offers of money because we, for better or worse, thought it was better to do it ourselves. And today, Spoonflower's engineering department consists almost entirely of people that we taught to write code. So Kelly Walsh at the far left there, if you're facing the screen, is the head of our engineering department. And she learned to write code while she was at Spoonflower. And these other two folks started out at Spoonflower cutting fabric and printing fabric. And we now have a scholarship program where anyone at Spoonflower, anyone who works with us, can apply to intern with the engineering department and win an opportunity to get a full scholarship to the Iron Yard. So these were the first two recipients of that. So our entire engineering department is almost entirely taught within the context of Spoonflower. So we've in our executive team as well, mostly are people who started out cutting fabric. So we've developed that as a sort of culture, and that reflects, you know, the way we started. Neither Gart nor I knew what we were doing at all when we started, and we had to figure it out as we went along. And we value that kind of intrepid personality, passionate personality, quite a lot. So yes, most of the people who work at Spoonflower are people who make things, and most of the people who use Spoonflower, coincidentally, are also people who make things, often people who make and sell things. And this is just a few examples. Yeah, I don't really have a call to action, but I did go to Facebook or Twitter or Instagram and follow the company. A lot of what we do in social media is really about inspiring people to make things, trying to show examples of what people can do, and it's quite a lot of fun. You don't have to buy anything. So that's it.